We're going to look at vertical transformations first. These transformations happen on the y's. Now, f of x is your function, and the plus 2 represents that you will shift up 2, and the minus 2 represents that you will shift down 2. If you have a 2 in front of your function, so the 2 in front of the f of x, you are going to stretch by 2, so your function will get taller. If you have a 1/2 or any type of fraction, again, in front of your function will get shorter. If you have a negative sign in front of your function, that is a reflection over the x-axis. So what you are doing is you are changing the y-coordinates so that moves the y's over the x-axis. Now, horizontal transformations happen on the x's. So notice that now all of these transformations are going to happen inside of your function. So in the parentheses, kind of right next to that x. So if you have f of x plus 2, that means you're going to go to the left 2. If you have f of x minus 2, you are going to the right 2. Now, if you have a 2 in front of the x inside of your function, you are actually going to be shrinking by a factor of 1/2. That's the opposite of actually stretching like you had before. If you had a 1/2 and it's inside of your function, you are going to be stretching. So shrinking and stretching as a horizontal transformation, you can almost think about it like an accordion. Now, if you have a minus sign inside of your function, you are reflecting over the y-axis, almost like a revolving door. So any transformation that happens on your x, any horizontal transformation, is inside of your function. And so what we had thought about with the vertical transformations is actually opposite for horizontal. So what you see for horizontal inside, it's always the opposite. Okay, so in this question, we're going to be given a graph, and we want to graph that transformation. Notice that the transformation is happening outside of your g of x function. So if it's on the outside, it affects your y's. It's a vertical transformation. And it's a minus 5, so you're actually going to go down 5. So every single one of those points in your original function are going to be shifted down 5 units. Okay, here is another transformation. Notice that that 2 is inside of your function, so I know it's going to affect my x's. This is a horizontal transformation. And I think to myself, oh, it's like 2 times x, so it must be bigger. But remember, inside is opposite, so instead of stretching, you're actually going to be shrinking. It's the opposite, so you're going to shrink by a factor of 1/2. So every single one of those points you see are going to be like an accordion, and they are going to smush inward. So as you can think about this, you're going to take every single x and you're going to multiply by 1/2, or is that's the same thing as dividing by 2. Okay, here we have 2 transformations. So the very first transformation we see is the 1/2. Now it's happening on the outside of my function, so that's going to impact my y. So I'm going to take every single one of those y values and I'm going to multiply them by 1/2 or divide them by 2. Now, the minus 4 is in the inside of your function. So the inside is the opposite. So instead of it going to the left 4, it's actually going to the right 4. So every single one of those points are going to shrink by 1/2 for the y. So take every single y, multiply by 1/2 or divide by 2, and then shift that point over to the right 4 spaces. Okay, so now we're going to do a couple of questions on writing transformed functions. So if I have a transformation of shift right 3 and shift up 6, the right 3 is going to affect the x's. That's a horizontal transformation that happens in the inside of my function. That's the inside is going to be opposite. If I am shifting up 6, I'm going to impact the y's. That's going to happen on the outside of my function, and that's going to be that plus 6. Horizontal shrink by 1/6. Horizontal shrink will be in the inside, but inside is opposite. And vertical shrink by 1/6 is going to happen on the outside. So that vertical shrink by 1/6 is the blue, which is 1/6 in front. However, the horizontal shrink is the opposite, so it's a factor of 6 right next to that x. The reflection over the y-axis is going to impact your x value. So that is a horizontal transformation. Reflection is that negative sign. And shifting up 2 is a vertical transformation. So I'm going to have a negative sign in front of that x inside my function. And then I'm going to have a plus 2 on the outside of my function for that vertical transformation. So here are some things to remember. Remember that vertical transformations affect the y's on the outside, and horizontal transformations affect the x on the inside. And remember that the inside is always opposite. So if you think that it should go right and it should be a plus, it's really being a minus sign. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like and subscribe for notifications on new videos. Thanks for watching!